Is a 10x move for XCN incoming? Is a 10x move next for XCN? This is from Viewer Trading. XCN market cap is holding the 0.382, forming a double bottom. Potential send to the 786, which is a 10x move. 7.5 billion, 40x is also possible, but not very likely. You never know. Anything is possible in this space. Time is impossible to predict, but the move could come relatively soon. Not financial advice, obviously. And then you could buy XCN through his link here. But is a 10x move coming? Viewer Trading here is one of the traders that has been 5 years in crypto. It has taught him discipline and hunting skills to spot opportunities. Simple, clear TA that works. People lie, charts don't. Not financial advice. One thing you could always rely on, TA is the true way to know, or a true way to increase your probabilities of success in this space, right? The better you are at TA, the better it's for you as, you know, someone that participates in crypto in general. Understanding Bitcoin dominance, understanding, you know, even simple chart patterns could help you very much so, in my opinion. So with, you know, what we're seeing here, if we take a look at the log scale for XCN, let me go back to this zoomed out image. You could see it's forming higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, right? On the log scale. This is the logarithmic scale for the chart, not just, you know, the regular chart. And with the log scale, you can see in the RSI, it's having this bottom that is formed here. And because of this bottom, you see what happened back here when it, you know, stayed above that white line. It had a massive move up. Stayed above the white line, it had a massive move up. Well, right now it's staying above that white line here. And because it's staying above that white line, you could see, guess what? Another move, massive move up. So a 10x move could be possible or incoming for XCN in the future. And I think that's very possible, right? I don't think that's an unrealistic target. I don't think that's something that's, you know, not possible. I think that's very conservative for this project. I think it could happen, man. I really do. Now, as far as the time frame goes for it, I am not sure. I can't tell you the time frame for when it could happen, but I do think it's possible. So this is from Bearded Crypto. I am 66,000 transactions into testing Goliath. XCN, who else is testing Onyx? 9 days until public mainnet. What else is coming after that? So right here you see the transaction details for Bearded Crypto. Great account, like I said, guys. Make sure you guys give him a follow. Bearded Crypto on X. Great account. Always spotting like fine details when it comes to XCN. Been around in the project for a very long time. So look at this, 66,000 transactions, and you know, taking place on the XCN main testnet, I should say, Goliath testnet. And you know, it's great to see, because this is what I like to see in the space. I like to mess around in projects ecosystem. I like to test out their DeFi. You guys saw me with the, you know, Onyx AI tools. I tested the AI tools, you know, in a video. Didn't plan it, but I tested it out. And I personally love to use the projects that I think will have great upside, that I think are bullish, right? I personally love to use them. I don't just want to buy the coin and not be able to test out what the coin is about, right? 2024, that was cool to do, because, you know, you could just buy some pictures on the blockchain, some memes, and then you'd be successful. But the market has changed drastically, and things change so fast in crypto, man. I really be thinking to myself, how will retail investors, like I'm talking about people that aren't new to the space, that just, most people outside of crypto, they just think it's a scam. As soon as they hear crypto, they think, oh, that's a scam. So I'm wondering how people outside of the space, when they get into the space, how they will navigate it, because things have changed so much and so fast. It's unreal how fast things change in crypto. But excuse me. I think, like I said, testing out the protocols and using them could increase your conviction, right? Instead of just buying the project and then that's it. You test it out, see how it works, see what it's all about. And you know, here we have Bearded Crypto having 66,000 transactions done in the testnet for Goliath, right? So that's fantastic to see. Really love to see stuff like that. It's from Willie Onyx. 9 days until Goliath mainnet goes live. There's a countdown here, great countdown video, and I'm interested to see. A lot of people have already speculating, hey, it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event, etc. They don't believe this project. After Goliath, they still don't believe in a project, right? But I think, if they've been building for this long and they continue to build, right? Even if, say for example, Goliath, we don't see the price action that people are happy with, I still think, you should have your conviction, because this project, in my opinion, should have a higher probability of being around, because the team is still working, putting their head down, even in these types of market conditions. Recently saw from Kraken, for example. Kraken is not, launching their IPO because of, the terrible market conditions, right? So it was filing for Kraken Exchange was filing for an IPO, but recently Kraken Exchange freezes multi-billion-dollar IPO plan. Why did they freeze it? New crypto exchange Kraken freezes multi-billion-dollar IPO plan due to difficult market conditions, right? So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Kraken Tier 1 exchange freezing their IPO plan because the market conditions are tough. They're not the best, right? Yet, XCN is here building throughout the terrible market conditions, and you have to respect that. You have to be like, okay, I'll definitely have some exposure to this project because of that, right? This is from Dude. XCN bag in Jan 2025. I do believe it will revisit 3 cents soon. So here you have somewhere with 1.6 million XCN, and they're looking for a 10-cent move. They're looking for a 3-cent move, a move to 3 cent, which is, in my opinion, is very possible for XCN. I don't think that is unrealistic. Jinx, once again, I'm positioned for XCN at $1 RU, and right now XCN is sitting at 2055 here, sitting at just under $211 million in market cap. Volume is up 22%. Again, showed a bit of strength here, a nice bounce. A lot of projects in the space did not have a bounce recently, so that was good to see that it had some strength. It showed some strength, and like I said, guys, I think, obviously, nothing I say is guaranteed, and nothing I say is financial advice, but I do think XCN has the potential for, good upside, if not great upside in the future. The way the macro market is heading, though, we're not sure, right? We take a look at the macro market. Just finished watching the FOMC meeting, or part of it. Rates have remained unchanged. The market is already feeling the effect because Bitcoin, we got the news, and then Bitcoin started to fall right away, right? So you see, as we can see, it's falling right now back down to 70K. So a lot of people, like I said, TA people with big followings, they were thinking it would move up to 80K, and then we reject. And once we reject, that's when you see a move down to maybe 40K for Bitcoin. And other analysts think we break above 80K, hold above 80K to maybe get to 100K once again, and then move back down to 60K one more time. That 60K would be the bottom, and then we start the next bull run, right? So it's basically two opinions here: the 4-year cyclers, and people that think, well, maybe this time is different because last year we didn't end the bull run on euphoria, right? We ended on apathy. We ended on market conditions that were less than favorable for most, with the tariffs, etc. So this is why I say some exposure to the market is better than no exposure, and especially when we were in peak fear, right? So this is why I say 100,000 XCN back down here at $460 for 100,000 XCN would have been a good bet to make. You're not over investing, right? Now we're up in profit. So from $460 to $655, right? You're back down to $554, but still in profit. So I think, holding here is a good bet to make. It's an amount that, like I said, it's not going to put you in debt, or you're gonna put yourself in a spot where crypto has ruined you. I know there's people that are, you know, way more over invested in the project. They have 1 million XCN, 10 million XCN, etc. But I'm just, you know, when I say for me, I don't want to tell anyone to over invest in anything, because nothing is guaranteed. Things could go wrong, right? So this is why I say, okay, XCN is a great project. What would be an average amount that, you know, anyone could afford? Anyone could afford that. And, you know, if something goes wrong, you know, they won't lose that much. If something goes right, they make good upside. They make good ROI, right? So I still think, like I said, 5 cents per XCN, 10 cents per XCN, maybe even 30 cents, anywhere from the 10 cent to 30 cent range could be possible here. I think that is the case, but it's really because of the macro being in such a bad spot. Don't expect these moves to happen right away, right? Don't expect these moves to be possible instantly. You're gonna have to exercise patience here. But again, it's great to see that the team is building. They have new ambassadors being added to the project. More people paying attention. The community is still growing. The team is still building. They're making updates for the project consistently, and we're gonna keep an eye on it, right? So as always, none of this is financial advice, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Join my Discord, follow me on X, and subscribe to my Clips channel. It really helps the channel out. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next.